okay, cinema is not just about Indian cinema or Tollywood or Bollywood. Like there's something beyond it. There was an amazing movie called Manjumal Boys.
Yeah,
Brahmayugam.
so good. Yeah.
So good. Like.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the third episode of the Good Vibes Only show. In today's episode, we have an amazing guest gracing the couch. He is an amazing passionate storyteller, an aspiring filmmaker, and somebody who only dreams about cinema. So, let's dive into this spicy conversation where he talks about the glitz and glamour of cinema and what the OTT industry has got for us in the near future. Hi Sai Charan, how are you?
Hi Shravani, I'm doing good. Like yeah, it's been a long time since we
Yeah.
met. So yeah.
Also, Sai Charan is my senior from college, and I think this is the first time that we are speaking in a very informal way. Otherwise, in
Yeah, in college, like it was
Yeah.
pretty general and like it was not like
very assignments and all of
assignment.
that.
Like even in college, like our work was like more of a formal kind of a thing, like assignments, that, these, and all. Like
Yeah.
yeah, it's good to like catch up this way after a very long time. And like we
Yeah.
were very busy in our professional lives. We were
Yeah.
so caught up. Yeah, that's how the media industry is, right?
Yeah, right. So, how do you feel today as in coming here?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what you have got in store for us?
Yeah, like I don't want to like give some certain expectations of what I got in store for you. So for you or like for the audience who are watching this, so it's just that like it's like always I have been beside like before like I was not facing camera. I was like beside camera. Like I was
Always behind
the camera. Yeah, behind like sorry for the vocabulary. So I was always behind the camera and like I was I wanted to see like how it'll be like when I am facing the camera.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily doesn't have to be filmmaking or something of that
Yeah,
sort.
yeah.
So even a like informal conversation or something of that sort. Even I wanted to like get into podcast or something like that, but I was not getting that proper like platform or something. So I should thank you for having me in this podcast and like it will be very fun.
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted to speak to you about cinema because back in the college days,
Yeah.
I've heard you talk about cinema, how passionate you are about cinema and filmmaking. So yeah, I think it will be a good ride,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I would also learn more about cinema and how cinema has interested you so
Yeah.
far. So yeah, so tell me, how was your childhood like? Were you always very inclined towards cinema, or was it anybody in your family that pushed you to the world of cinema? How was it like?
So like coming to my childhood, like I was like I'm an only child. I don't have any siblings.
Okay.
So like then I was like all alone myself, and most of the time I was spending like with my mom. Like so the thing is, once we moved to Bangalore, like I was born and brought up in my hometown called Ballari. It's in North Karnataka. So there, after my first birthday, like my parents moved to Bangalore.
Oh.
So it was maybe I was born in 99, so it was 2000, I guess.
Okay.
So like I stayed in Bangalore till 2006, and my childhood was like very normal and that sort of a thing because
Not filmy at all.
like filmy in the sense it is filmy because my dad is a huge fan of Chiranjeevi, like he's a big star in Tollywood. So
I know.
yeah, I was growing up I watched a lot of films, and my dad used to take me to cinema. So that was a fascination, but I never wanted to become a filmmaker in childhood, to be very honest.
course, huh.
Because I always wanted to go to cinema because you know, like people from Andhra or Telangana in general, cinema is the only sort of entertainment for them. Like
Why do you say so? As in,
see, so in the sense like we are passionate movie buffs, like
more
like,
about okay.
yeah.
Movie buffs.
Movie buffs, because when you see people in Bangalore or like even in Bangalore it is there, like the thing is there. But in general, people want to like when there are weekends, they just want to go somewhere like hang out with the family, go to restaurant or
Right.
so and so thing. But when you look at people who come from a like very middle class or like people who come from a lower middle class background, for them like if a father is the earner of the family, right? So if he wants to like make his family make their day special or something worthwhile, cinema is the only thing that is a go-to thing, because
It was kind of an entertaining sort of
yeah,
thing.
it was kind of an entertaining, like it was kind of going to an amusement park or something like that, because there is a saying that cinema like with 500 or back in time the rates were also
Very low.
very low, right?
Now you get caramelized popcorn. That's later.
That's
Anyway,
later,
don't
that's
want to
later.
get into it.
Yeah, but back in time there was single screens were a main thing, right?
Yes.
So like ticket was hardly like balcony was 20 bucks or 30 bucks.
I remember back that time there was this concept of balcony and it
second
was what
class.
20-50 rupees.
Yeah. So in weekends, like my dad used to take me to cinema.
Okay.
Like I grew up watching Chiranjeevi, Pawan Kalyan, and Ram Charan movies. So yeah, even like partly mind blow films. So I was like a huge Tollywood buff back in time, like till 2007. And after 2007, like I was in Hyderabad for 2 years. So even there, like a lot of scene was happening and all. So like movie was cinema was a part of my life. So the thing is, like even in my childhood, like I've never been in one school. Like I've changed 5 schools till my 10th grade.
Okay.
I've shifted 3 places. Like I stayed in Bangalore till 2006, I guess. So 7, 8, 2 years Hyderabad, and then 2009 back to Ballari. So like a lot of things was happening.
So this was because your father, because of the job.
Job, like my father was like job or business kind of a thing.
So you guys kept shifting.
Yeah, we kept shifting, and in 2009, like it was stable. Like we came back to our hometown, so we stayed there till 2018, and again after that, like when I was doing my graduation, it was in Ballari only, undergraduate. So my dad moved, our family moved back to Anantapur. So yeah, then I came back to Bangalore again in 2021, I guess, in comments. So that's how it happened, and the thing like. The fascination towards cinema, me being a filmmaker, started in 2019. That I would say, like precisely because in 2019, like I was exploring a lot of movies, international cinema. So there is this movie channel called YouTube channel called Filmmaking. So they were doing all the analysis in Telugu. So from then I was like, okay, cinema is not just about Indian cinema or Tollywood or Bollywood. Like there is something beyond to it. So why not let me explore? So then I started watching all the international cinema, European.
So
Hollywood.
basically that was the first time when you ventured into something out of Tollywood.
Yeah, out of Tollywood, like 2019, like it was just a pre-COVID period. Like,
Right.
Early
2019.
September or something of that sort. So I used to bunk college in my undergrad. I was not going very.
So you were that crazy about cinema.
That was the time because. That was the time when I started exploring Quentin Tarantino, Martin Scorsese, so Christopher Nolan. So that was the time I started exploring because I never had an idea about. There was a movie called Dark Knight and all. Like when that movie was actually released, I never had an idea. I was like fairly known. Like in 2007 when I was staying in Hyderabad. Then Dark Knight released, I thought like okay, some Hollywood shit, I don't know about anything. For me, movie is just some Tollywood like Telugu mass masala films. just let me go and enjoy, have a good time. But in 2019, I was actually started exploring. I was educating myself about what cinema is actually because I was not even. I didn't like Mani Ratnam also back in time before 2015.
He's a very celebrated.
Yeah, he's a very celebrated filmmaker. Like I was talking about before 2015. I was like, "Kya karta hai wo?" Like it's just a slow movie. Like what is there in that? Movie means action, drama, songs.
Because you were always inclined towards Telugu masala movies.
So in 2019, I started appreciating the offbeat filmmakers like Mani Ratnam, Anurag Kashyap, and even Vishal Bharadwaj. So I started appreciating that kind of filmmakers, and I started exploring different genres. Then I got to know that cinema is something like that communicates us personally. It gives
it's a form of communication, not only
entertainment, and it gives a subjective experience. It makes us to reflect on ourselves, like what we are as a person. So because in mass masala movies we cannot relate to the characters obviously.
I think apart from the mass masala movies, the directors that you spoke about, these movies also give you a little more perspective about yourself, a very different perspective because in mass masala movies, because I was also a very Bollywood mass masala, family drama movies kind of a person, but then I ventured into true crime documentaries, all of that, you actually get a very different perspective because there is psychology involved. There are a lot of things involved. So yeah, I get it. I mean, when you actually venture into something different, you understand different things.
Yeah. Actually, like in 2019, I was pursuing my chartered accountancy course. Like I didn't even clear the entrance. That's a different story.
Okay.
So like I grew up in a family household where people were either choosing medicine, engineering, MBA or CA for that matter. Like they were always choosing the traditional form of a route. So I was thinking to go something like try to do something unconventional. So to do something different. So back in time, like I was also watching a lot of cricket and all. So I thought like instead of going to film school and exploring that, I wanted to like enter into media industry so that I could build the connections and I would also get the idea like how I can sell a movie, like what are the different facets, how to promote a movie, marketing and all, because that's actually very important. So film school and all, like in India, what I believe is that like there is nothing like proper film school. Like it, where once you graduate from there within 2-3 years, some producer will come to you and all. That's not the scene, to be very honest. So instead, like we need to have a plan B. Like since we come from a very humble middle class background,
and you don't have like generational wealth to spend on something. If it fails, you have some other things to look after.
That's the thing. So then like people in my family, like my relatives, they questioned, like even they were telling my dad like no, you're just listening to him blindly and all, like that. There's nothing like that, it's very risky. They don't even pay you some money to sustain your life and all. So why to risk so much? But I should actually thank my mom and dad, because no matter what, they believed in me. Like
they were always supportive.
Yeah, they were always supportive. And then I got into comics, like where I got to study marketing, advertising and all, cinema studies. So I was like, I'm kind of thankful to comics as well, because not just filmmaking, I got to know about other part of media education, media within the media industry. So which would,
that's why you choose a college where you're not only taught films but about marketing and advertising, everything.
Media in general, because so then I felt like, okay, knowing about cinema is not just like, it's not fun like complete media industry in general. It's a lot of fun. So we get to know about a lot.
So you think that added value to your, say, personality, as in terms of viewing films in a very different perspective, from the perspective of marketing, from the perspective of advertising, or for that matter journalism also?
Yeah, definitely, because everything is interconnected is what I believe, because cinema without like journalism or advertising or marketing, it's difficult for cinema to advertise or like promote itself and reach the audience, right? So everything is interconnected. So I want to know that interconnections, so that like while writing a script, I need to know like it's not about focusing on myself, like what I want to deliver to the audience. It's just that like what audience like, and how it can relate to the audience, how it can give subjective experience to the people.
So I think it was more of a community thing that you learned, and not an individual. Yeah.
And also teamwork. I got to meet a lot of like amazing people, as you know, because people in that college, now that college is closed, it's a different story. Like people were from like Kolkata, like West Bengal in general, and there were people from Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan.
So they were from very different backgrounds, so you paired up with them, you learned a lot of things. I remember, I think you guys were shooting something and then you wanted somebody to play the role of a woman. You were asking about playing the role of a woman who's broke or something. Then you were asking me that. I remember that.
That's the thing, because
short film,
and like the culturally, like the cultural experience that I got in comics is something that I'm always grateful for, because you come from West Bengal, I'm from
I'm a Bengali. I don't come from West Bengal. I come from Bhubaneswar. But I mean, of course, being a Bengali who's stayed in Orissa for 18 years, say, of course you get to learn a lot of things from very different communities, very different, because the cultural shift is very, what do you say, the gap is very large, right? And I think when you actually get paired or team up with such amazing people, you get to learn their perspective, and I think it also makes your work easier, because if you have done something, then they are the critics that will tell you where you went wrong and where you could have done better, right?
In general, like the people who like cinema in general coming from different backgrounds, because I have one friend, like someone from Bihar, so her childhood was like very different, because I never expected like the thing in Bihar like was something very different. Some like one of my friend who is from UP, their childhood like was completely different. So, and when we look at my childhood in like Andhra or Karnataka for that matter, so it's very different. Within India there is a lot of cultural shift. Like when you like move 100 kilometers from your place, there's a lot of cultural shift. So getting that perspective and like knowing more about people, because cinema is basically we need to know about people and bring that.
That's how stories come.
So that's the good thing actually, like culturally, and it was a like diverse experience.
And moreover, people who hail from different states,
Yeah.
their exposure to cinema
Exposure.
is also very different,
Yes,
right?
yes.
As you said, you were very inclined towards cinema because your father took you to
Yeah.
watch cinema every Sunday,
Yeah.
or for a family get together, you
Yeah.
always went to watch a cinema, right?
Yeah.
But when you come to these people, cinema may be a luxury for some,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So you perspectives are very different.
Yeah, very different. Because in my first job, like there's this guy called Praval. So he was like he's into theater. He's into like completely into cinema. But the like first movie he watched in theater was Rise, Shah Rukh Khan.
Okay.
So he watched his first movie in theater when he was like around 20 or something. I was like, oh man, like how can you?
You have missed so many years of your life
Yeah.
not watching.
He was like, I came from like a small town in Uttar Pradesh, so we are not privy to going to theaters and cinemas in general. So he was like, after a very long time, Rise was that film he watched in theater. So I was like, oh, this is the case.
Yeah, I mean, you actually spun stories out of these
Yeah.
people, because somebody's not watched film for 20 years and somebody was been watching cinema. Both of you will have different
Yeah.
perspectives, right?
Yeah,
So-
they watched movies, but going to theater was not their thing. It was a very different perspective actually, because I got to know people from North India in small villages or rural areas. So they are not very like fancy towards going to theater and watching cinema, celebrating it. But when we look at Andhra, even in a remote village, there are 2 to 3 theaters.
Yeah.
Like people celebrate for.
I think it is also the exposure.
Yeah.
People from the northeast, say, as you said, or
Yeah.
UP, they may not have exposure
Yeah.
to cinema, or maybe, as you said, in Andhra or Karnataka, people saw cinema not only as an entertainment but something that is an everyday kind of a thing.
Routine.
Yeah, routine thing. But apart from these states, other states have maybe say agriculture as
Yeah.
the primary thing to do,
Yeah.
or maybe something or the other.
Yeah.
Like in Mumbai, if people say Mumbai, you hear Bollywood,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So a lot of people have grown up watching cinema, grown up in the cinema set. So yeah, I mean, and also after COVID, OTT has come into the picture,
Yeah.
and a lot of people do not get the opportunity to go to the theaters, right?
Theatres, yeah.
So that's also a shift that we're
That's also
still
a shift.
dealing with.
Yeah, because people now like going to theater, as I said, like back in time, like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, cinema was a part of daily routine for everyone from middle class. Now the ticket rates and all, like OTT has come, so what you are paying for a one-time watch in theater, you can pay for an entire month with an OTT
True.
subscription.
True.
You can explore a lot of movies. So and even it's like within a month, however movie comes in OTT, we can watch it there. So people have that kind of mindset, and for people to bring to theaters post-COVID has become very challenging, is what I say.
You have to have a very moving story,
Very
otherwise
moving
why
story.
would people
Yeah,
go?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And people have a notion that if it is movie directed, like it's larger than life, that Rajamouli or Prashant Neel or something like that,
Yeah.
people come to theaters. I don't agree to that, to be honest, because we can learn from Malayalam cinema. They make a very low budget, under tight budget. Like 2024 was a year where Malayalam cinema
I
was
know.
celebrated
I've read a lot about it. Yeah.
throughout India. Like there was an amazing movie called Manjumal Boys,
Yeah,
Brahmayugam.
so good. Yeah.
So good. Like within that minuscule budget, they gave that proper theater experience. Like so, then I got to know that no matter how it's not
Doesn't matter the size.
doesn't matter the size. It's just the story need to be relatable, or story need to be very engaging. The audience will pay and watch it. So anyhow, because what I knew personally was Manjumal Boys was made on a budget of some 20 crore or something. It collected 200 crore. So that's
See, so do you think these are the new trends in the industry now? As in, has there been a shift post-COVID? As in, when OTT has come to picture now, and as you said, people are more driven towards OTT because instead of wasting say 500 rupees for a one-time watch, you sit at the comfort of your home and then watch a movie in OTT.
yeah.
So do you think there has been a shift
Yeah, I agree to that. Like there has been a
or
shift.
trends as
Yeah,
such?
definitely. Like there has been a trend, because studying consumer behavior is also important. Like for producers is what I say, because they need to do a proper groundwork, proper research. Like
Huh.
which Bollywood is failing is what I think, because they are doing good cinema. Like for example, there was a movie called Lapata Ladies.
Oh.
So it's a very good movie, but it didn't do well in theaters. It did well in OTT.
OTT, I know.
So
Even I watched that in OTT.
yeah, people got to know about that film after it got released.
Because I was not aware that something like this is in the theaters.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are very reluctant to
Yeah.
go watch a movie which is, as you said, are
Yeah.
not made by big directors or doesn't
big
have
stars.
much action scenes, all of that,
Or
right?
big stars. For
Yeah, so yeah, even Lapata Ladies was selected
Yeah.
for Oscars, right?
Yeah.
I do understand that. So you think, yeah, of course, the cinema landscape has changed with OTT
Yes,
and
yes.
everything. Do you think the concept of filmmaking has also evolved?
To be honest, yes, the concept of filmmaking has evolved because now things have been very advanced and all. So, but whatever it is, like the storytelling ability, like giving the human touch to the story, has not changed. Like it has been relevant even to in today's time. Like maybe the work has become very easier because in today's time, with all the resources and technology, anybody can become a filmmaker within a limited budget. Anyone can make a movie and like sell it to the OTT or even like approach a distributor to play it in theater. So anything, anyway, now the resources has been very easier, and you can reach out to people, like the reaching out to people because of social media, everything. Things have been easier. Just that like you need to give right content to the audience. You need to be sure what you're doing, and you need to analyze like whether it works in theaters or because there's a two things, like OTT movies and theater movies. So if the movie is if it is catering for OTT audience, if you instinctively, though you want to make it for theater, you'll know instinctively like, oh, when it gets released in OTT, more people will watch it and it gets more traction. So if you are in that mindset, then you need to take a decision like while thinking of getting theaters for it. So you need to market in a way where people are aware of that movie, where people gets excited. You need to have that proper publicity. Or else no, उतना नहीं कर सकते. Like we just want to.
So you think if a filmmaker per se has this much of budget allotted for a film and has these many resources, so do they already plan that okay, we are releasing it in the theaters, but our main what do you say, the main TG, the target audience, is in the OTT space. So according to that, is the budget decided or it is already planned? Matlab, before you don't know whether the film will make profits or not, right? So how does the budget chart look like?
So the budget chart in general, like for indie films and for low budget films, like the filmmakers are very cautious, and because in Telugu there were few films which were directly released on OTT, and there was a film which released on theaters, but people were not aware of it because they didn't have budget for marketing and stuff like that. I knew like couple of months ago or maybe 6 months ago, I don't even know about the name of the film, but he was an NRI basically. Like he from his personal savings he made a movie, but he didn't have budget for marketing. So he literally put a LED screen in a bag form, and he was advertising roaming in theater, like railway stations, bus stands. So it was that thing. But when we look at stars, like for example Shah Rukh Khan or Allu Arjun or any big star, so they can afford to put extra budget or additional budget for marketing. And in South India, like there's a trend of having a huge pre-release events where a lot
Flash
of people,
mob kind of a
flash mob kind of thing. Large people gather and like they
let the public know that this is releasing.
This is
Pushpa 2, a lot of stampede happened.
That's the thing, because people are very obsessed with stars in like South India and even in Hindi belt, because if a Shah Rukh Khan movie is releasing, like for example Pathan and Jawan, they're not like I'm like, it's my personal opinion, again I don't want to be controversial, so it was not very high on content, be it Pathan or Jawan, but people had that deprivation of not watching SRK.
Shah Rukh Khan, because I am a very Shah Rukh Khan diehard fan, and the comeback itself is bigger than the movie, right?
Yes.
So do you think that these stars or say big production houses plan to save some money to put in marketing so that it reaches a wider audience?
Yeah, definitely. They put in a lot of amount in marketing because because it's a big budget movie, like be it Animal in recent times or Jawan or Pathan. In South it's Pushpa 2 or like all the movies.
Huge movies. These are
huge movies, and they don't care about the budget because like no matter how much ever the budget it happens, they will get it back because of advertising the stars, like because the star is the face of the movie, and people are obsessed with stars and all.
So do you think, as you said about indie artists, so these, I don't know whether they are independent filmmakers or not, Do you think, if at all there are some independent filmmakers, they stand a chance in making good money if they don't have a big production house? You think that is important to
Yeah.
have a big production house?
No, I don't agree to that because, as I said, like there are a lot of resources available in today's time with a very limited budget and all. So I believe that content needs to be strong because when Arjun Reddy was releasing, like that movie was made on a very like low budget of 50 lakhs.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it collected 50 crores.
Yeah.
And for like they had to pay for a pre-release event like that. I think it had a big expense and all. But once the movie released, through the word of mouth, it became a big hit. It became a huge hit. And similarly, there were a lot of movies in Telugu. Like if that movie was like very entertaining or engaging, like that movie became hit because one thing I like about my audience, like people from our side, like Telugu audience, they don't care about the language. If the movie is good,
They will watch it.
they'll own it. They make that movie hit.
Yeah.
So that's the good thing. And in today's time, like be it Bollywood industry or Tamil, Malayalam, they want to get into Telugu market because they know that Telugu audience are obsessed with cinema.
Yeah.
They like to watch.
They will anyway watch it. Doesn't matter which
Yeah.
language, what is the
Yeah.
who's in the movie.
Yeah, they will
Content
watch.
matters, right?
Yeah, content matters, and because most of the Malayalam movies that did well in Malayalam were dubbed in Telugu and
Yeah.
they did well in Telugu.
Yeah.
So like there are a lot of movies like Brahmayugam, Premalu, Manjumal Boys. So they did very well in Telugu. And what I noticed is that in Bollywood, the movie that dubbed in Telugu, Hindi movie, only Animal did well. Brahmastra did to some extent,
Yeah.
but other movies struggled to.
Brahmastra was a hit at the box office.
Yeah, it was a hit at the box office. Rajamouli was the distributor in South, and he was the face of promoting the movie in South. So I think that had a factor.
Okay.
And Animal, like of course, Sandeep Reddy Vanga and their action, masala.
Everything was a part of it.
Everything.
But also a lot of people complained about the toxicity that was shown in the movie.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
a lot of people, especially women, would not want a partner like Ranbir Kapoor,
Yeah.
the character that Ranbir Kapoor played. So what do you have to say about it? Do you
So-
think it's controversial or people should just like it? The way
No,
it is?
I don't like tell people like you need to like it.
Yeah.
So it's left up to you whether you like it or you don't like it. But you can't ignore the fact that Animal has broken all the stereotypes of filmmaking.
Yeah.
It was some like
It was an experiment. Yeah.
experiment. It was path-breaking, which I would say, because what I heard from recent interviews, like most of the filmmakers in Bollywood circle, they speak about Animal, like kaisa hota hai, like how it made and all. So and most of the people, like people who acted in Animal, they got like because Tripti Dimri,
Oh
like,
my God.
she was a very good actress before Animal. There were
A lot of people didn't know.
Didn't know.
Laila Majnu released recently.
Yeah, Leela
right?
Majnu, Bulbul, and Kala. They were a very good movie. They were
I
very
watched
good
Bulbul,
movies.
yeah.
And Tripti Dimri was known for her acting, though she was not known widely by majority of the audience. But post Animal, I think it had created a bad impact because she is accepting movies that show more of a glam quotient rather than acting. So that thing like is
But post Animal, she also got a lot of offers.
yeah, she got a lot of offers. She is known by people, and she has that capacity to drive audience to the theaters.
What's the harm in it? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know why do people have objections about that. If
Yeah.
somebody is getting the opportunity,
Yeah.
be it so.
Be it so. Like now, we are not getting to see the actor of her. Like we are just getting to see star of her. So that's the difference. But what I think is that people can manage both, just like how Ranbir Kapoor is. He's a star as well as he's a fantastic actor. Even Shah Rukh Khan for that matter. Even Allu Arjun. So
They
that's
are
it.
big time. I mean, if you say Tripti Dimri, a lot of people who question about the choices of the films that she's
Yeah.
been doing, a lot of people didn't know or didn't watch Bulbul because
Yeah.
she was not a big name,
Not
right?
a big name, and people were like, "हाँ क्या होता है? Like what's the big deal?" And all. So they were very good movies actually. They like it's a very unfortunate thing that it didn't get much reach it should have gotten. So
But now it's getting the
it's
credit
getting
that
the
it deserves,
It
yeah?
deserves, yeah.
So now that we've ventured into the OTT space, a lot of audience is watching OTT. Do you think that has caused hindrance to the theaters? As in, a lot of directors or say filmmakers are very scared to, telecast the movie in the theater, and it is very safe for them to just launch it on OTT.
Yeah, so again we need to categorize, to be honest, because if the movie is headed by a big production house like Dharma, or because even Dharma makes low budget or medium budget movies like Kill was one of the best action movies that I've
Control?
seen. Control. Like, yeah, it was very like these were very good movies. So Kill was released in theaters and it didn't do like really well, but it was a fair hit at box office, even 12th fail for that matter. So it was a good hit at box office because that movies had potential to do even better. But I'm happy that like they did well. Like producers didn't lose money. So, but when it comes to indie producers, for them it is very difficult to
It's risky.
It's very risky for them because already they might not have budget for marketing also. So again, catering it to theaters, many films struggle often because people have categorized actors into OTT stars and theater stars. Manoj Bajpayee, like if it is Family Man, people like, are waiting eagerly for next season and all. But same Manoj Bajpayee's movie releases in theaters. Like there were very movies called recently, few movies of Manoj Bajpayee. They were very good movies. They were high on content, but they didn't do well. Like they were.
Because I think the stereotyped. I mean, I would want Manoj Bajpayee to be in Family Man and not do something else than Family Man, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want Manoj Bajpayee to be an OTT actor, and maybe like they're like, okay, why to go to theater and all, like they stereotype that is a bad thing actually. And even the marketing, the people who does marketing, PR and strategy, they need to be very cautious about promoting a movie to theater if that actor is an OTT actor. So yeah, that's it.
So do you think that there has already been a categorization of, say, theater actors and OTT actors?
Yes, it is there. Like big stars are meant for theaters, and like there is some stereotype within the audience because in Bollywood there is a lot of OTT thing happening, but in Telugu and even in Tamil for that matter, OTT is not that big thing. Like there are only one or two handful of content or web series that come in OTT. Like now it is like booming slowly, but most of the producers in Telugu cinema, like it's a big gamble for them. Like they risk it all. They try to release it in theaters. It's a very like not very common to release movie directly into OTT. Now, as you know, there is a platform called AHA. So they released, and ETV win. So ETV has recently ventured into OTT. There's a separate OTT platform, and they released like good bunch of movies. Like and the actors who acted in that movies were YouTubers basically who were doing content. So they
even Z5 has a number of, even I have recently ventured into watching Bengali movies, and the plots of these movies are very amazing. I mean, very new, very fresh. I watched a movie called Rokto Korami, which is a flower, where you know every character is molded in a way where you cannot just get out of your seat. It is so good. So do you think that now in this digital era and the invent of OTT, it is very difficult to pull the audience to the theaters? I mean, what strategy, say the PR people or the marketing or the filmmakers need to do to get the people out of the bed and just make them watch the movie in the theaters?
Yeah, there's no hard and fast rule, as I said like a while ago. It's about the content. Like if the story is.
But how would you know the content if you haven't watched it? I mean, in general, supposedly there's a movie supposed to release so in Diwali, say. How do you know that the film would do good and the content is good? How will you trust the film? So what do the filmmakers need to do to build that trust? That's what I'm asking.
To build that trust, because for example, if in Telugu, for a low budget movie, they make trailer launches with big stars. So very often we see Prabhas or any other big star, they like launch the trailer of that movie, and like Prabhas has a huge following as we know. So then like he promote that movie in his social media handle. Then people watch the trailer, and after watching the trailer, it really sound very interesting. They go to theaters, of course, like very few audience, and through the word of mouth, like day one might be the collection might be low, but day two like it will pick up in a good pace. It spreads, basically that's the thing. So like as I said, if they use some big stars who can voluntarily promote the movie without expecting anything, of course I agree to that point. Like there are stars who accept to promote movies without charging anything, because it is very important for industry to sustain. It cannot rely on big stars only, as we know. There should be every movie that releases in every month there should be one or two movies that actually releases, so that theater business sustains in the long run, and people who are working on film set, they are paid well. So
I think in making of a film, there are a lot of people involved in
Yeah, yeah.
making, right? And I've also come across news where people are not paid because, of course, if we
Yeah.
don't go watch the movies in the theaters, the production house is at loss, and everybody, the filmmaker, the actors, because you have to pay a certain amount to
Yeah.
people, right? So it's very important that we make that happen, and of
Yeah.
course, if the content is good, I think people should watch it.
Yeah, definitely. The content is good. And Lapata Ladies, I think it's very unfortunate that
Yeah.
it did well in Mumbai circle,
Mm.
but not out of like in other states and all for that matter. Because when we look at UP or Bihar, when Pushpa released, like
Yeah.
people in UP and Bihar, they are more obsessed than.
They have started mimicking the
Yeah.
songs and "Main rukega nahi," and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of that, right?
Yeah, like
so
they
the
want-
craze is there.
Yeah, they want that larger than life. Because when we look at experimental film or experimental movies, which are not very massy for the audience, because Indian audience are like more focused for massy elements in movies. So if you are doing something experimental or like coming of age drama or something that is very different from the usual, so you need to target the multiplex audience and people who are in the metropolitan cities or some big towns, because you cannot expect that movie to fare well in like small towns or villages or rural areas. So you need to like carefully strategize that, like because if a movie is like multiplex and OTT movies are like one and the same is what I think, because I'm not against stereotyping the audience.
But clearly there is a categorization.
Yes,
right?
there is a categorization.
Right. So now that we've spoken about movies and filmmaking, what kind of stories interest you? As in, what genre do you like to watch, or maybe say you become a filmmaker in the future? What genre would you like to step into?
Yeah, so when I become a filmmaker, like I personally, I don't want to focus on the large scale or larger than life, something very that Rajamouli does or like some other big filmmakers does. So I want to like make movies that are more of a human drama, that is more to do with the character and the plot that drives the character. When what character drives the stories. So because even I am a huge fan of commercial cinema, I am a huge fan of like Ram Charan or Pawan Kalyan for that matter. I will show up first day on the theater when Prabhas movie releases.
Okay.
So I'm that type.
You like them, but as a
to-
filmmaker, you want to venture into something different.
Something different. I want to like, because I want my film to be more of a personal. I want to gain identity for for myself as a filmmaker, instead of like, because many Prabhas movies released recently. Apart from Bahubali, like in Telugu, like they know who are the directors for like Saho, Radhesham and all. But out of other states, like they come to theater only to watch Prabhas.
Prabhas,
They
Then Adipurush failed
Adi-
miserably, but people wanted to watch it because, of course, Prabhas as Ram, Lord Ram is something very big, right?
Yeah. So firstly, I want to make more of a human dramas, because there are movies like, as I said, international cinema. Like I would say like the major influence that had me was movies made by Alejandro Inarritu. So there were movies like 21 Grams, Amores Perros, and even Paul Thomas Anderson movies like There Will Be Blood, Magnolia, and Denis Villeneuve. Though Villeneuve had made Dune 2, so there were other movies like in his early stage of career. There was Enemy, Prisoners. So when you watch these kind of movies, I would suggest for the viewers who are listening to explore the cinema of these directors. And even when you watch European cinema or even Iranian cinema, so in European cinema there is a filmmaker called Pedro Almodovar. So he makes movies focusing on the human drama. And when you watch that movies, it will be like it will be a complete different experience.
Blows your mind.
Yeah, it blows your mind, and that movie stays with you for a while. Even after you finish watching that, like it stays you for a while. It gives you that different perspective. It is more, it gives you more subjective experience. And even when you look at Iran, so as we know, the censorship laws are very strict in Iran. And you cannot show something A-rated, or you cannot give explicit content within that tight budget, within the limited resources. Because in India, filmmakers, even the indie filmmaker is very well-to-do. But in Iran or some other third world countries, I'm not like.
There is a certain censorship where you cannot explore your creative side that explicitly.
Yeah, that explicitly. Yet there are Oscar-winning screenplays in Iran. made by Asghar Farhadi. For example, he made movies like Separation and About Eli.
Are these what do you say, regional movies or
Iranian, they are very regional.
Okay,
They are
okay.
very like what they say, connected to the grassroots level. They are very they are very more of a regional because they are very regional, and because of which the movies are very authentic and they get a huge traction. Even like there was other filmmaker from Iran called Abbas Kiarostami. He's very legendary, like how Satyajit Ray is for India. He's that kind of a guy. So in Iran, like we get to communicate with the character in person rather than the large scale graphics and action and all. I'm not saying that people should not make that kind of movie. Yeah, people can make that kind of movie. They should make for industry to survive, to thrive. But even these movies should come so that.
But people also need to be open about such movies where you are very driven by the character, driven by the plot, and not by the masala music and everything.
Masala music, and the movie is very relatable to you as person because there is a movie called Close Up by Asghar Farhadi, and even Pain and Glory by Pedro Almodovar, and one more movie about there was Juleta. It was Pedro Almodovar's European movie. So when you watch those movies, like you get to see like in real life, like there is suffering, there is pain, there is loss, everything. So when you watch that movie, you will be you can relate to that movies, right? Yeah, I think that so there are that movies. People with that kind of content are coming like in India. So the movies made by Anurag Kashyap. So back in time, like people didn't care to watch it in theaters. Be it Gulal, what they say, Devdi.
I think what's that movie?
Ugly.
Yeah.
They were like they weren't celebrated in theaters. They struggled to get back the money that they put in making that movies. But after a long time, after 10 years, even after COVID, then they are saying like, yeah, it is a cult classic and all. And obviously
then the following begins, right?
Following begins. So those are the movies that might not do well in theaters, but they age well, like fine wine. So for example, I'll be upfront. I liked Allu Arjun in a movie called Vedam. So it didn't do well at the box office, but it is very remembered. Like people for Allu Arjun as an actor. But Pushpa 2, 10 years down the line, people say it is a very complete crap and all. So and even Ram Charan. So there is a Ram Charan movie called Rangasthalam. So RRR, people will remember him for RRR. But Rangasthalam, it did well in the box office, thankfully. People will remember Rangasthalam even after 20 years. But RRR, okay, they'll remember for Rajamouli, but not for Ram Charan as an actor.
And also the song and everything.
Yeah.
I think now our audience has got a clear picture of what movies they should look out for, and I do understand you have a very in-depth knowledge about not only Telugu movies but, as you said, Iranian movies, because a lot of, even including me, I haven't watched Iranian movies as such.
Iranian, European, French.
So I think,
sorry to interrupt.
No.
So there is also like Philippines. People don't often look at Philippines. They don't even know about how Philippine movies are actually like.
I didn't know.
Yeah, because there's this director called Love Diaz. So the average duration of his movies are like 7 hours or 8 hours in general. And I don't know about how they do in theaters and all. But when I watched one of his movie, like it was 7-hour duration. I couldn't sit through, but I watched till 4 hours. Still, it gave some personal experience. It will be like you're traveling 4 or 5 days or months through that movie. So it gives that kind of experience.
It keeps you hooked.
Yeah, it keeps you hooked. It gives the long because when you watch a movie, you cannot the timeline you cannot completely in a zap. You cannot look at it. But in movies of that long duration, you feel like okay.
Stays with you.
It stays with you, and you're traveling in that movie. If the movie is in timeline of 1 month or 2 months, it feels like it's been 1 month or 1.5 months. You are traveling along with the character.
Right.
Yeah, and also like Russian movies. Now I don't explore Russian, but when Tarkovsky's movies in general. So even his movies are like more of a character drama. There are cult movies, as I said. So when we look at vintage filmmakers, in India, of course, Satyajit Ray, Shyam Benegal. In like from Russia,
recently he passed away.
Yeah, that's a sad thing.
Sorry,
he was a legendary filmmaker.
Legendary. I mean, I think I read one quote where it said, if Shyam Bengal wouldn't have ventured into films would have gone to him. Like
films would have, because They are legendary
Run
figures.
after him.
Yeah, and people looked at Indian cinema because of Satyajit Ray,
Right.
Shyam Benegal in general. But Satyajit Ray was someone who inspired like a huge like Martin Scorsese. You know what big filmmaker Martin Scorsese is? He's a celebrated Hollywood filmmaker. Even Steven Spielberg. So they were inspired by Satyajit Ray. And there was a Hollywood movie called Darjeeling Limited, which was made by Wes Anderson. He's a celebrated Hollywood filmmaker, but Satyajit Ray actually inspired him to make that movie.
Right.
Satyajit Ray films.
I think these are among the few people who actually pioneered the film landscape in the country, right?
Yeah.
And remembered till now, because we do not belong to that generation,
Yeah,
and someone like you who remembers him till now, of course these people have made a mark, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
Because I feel like okay, now we are so used to consume the mass masala content that our attention span has gradually reduced.
Yeah.
So now we cannot watch that like slow cinema and all. But I feel like I need to take some time to watch that movies, because obviously even for Christopher Nolan films, you cannot watch it in the afternoon after having a like meal or something. You are tend to lose the concentration.
Yeah, you have to be very cautious as to what he's saying, where the characters are going, what is he portraying, and everything, right? So what is that one recent movie, entertaining wise, from the entertaining perspective, that has interested you or excited you? Very recent movie that you watched and you've liked it so much.
Yeah, liked it so much. Entertainment, Animal, of course. And the more relatable movie that I liked so much was Kho Gaya Hum Kaha.
Oh,
So
yes.
that, because when you look at that movie,
I think that was a very genuine attempt at what we are today.
Yeah,
right?
and even the dialogue in every scene, it was not.
Didn't look like a movie.
It didn't look like a movie, and not even a single scene was of waste. Everything was articulated, everything was edited so perfectly. Like you can relate to it, and it has a rewatch value. Even I can watch it for 3-4 times. Even I can get back after like maybe 3-4 years down the line.
Yeah.
You'll get a different perspective when you watch that movie. So that is the thing. And in Telugu, like I like these movies directed by, there's this director called Shekhar Kamala and even Sukumar. Sukumar was a director of Pushpa, but there were old movies of Sukumar which stayed with the audience. For example, Mahesh Babu's One Nenapidine, NTR Snanaku Premato. So those movies, like they didn't do well at the box office, but now people call it as a cult classic. That's the
You
thing.
realize it later.
Yeah, you realize it later. And even in Tamil for that matter, Vetrimaran movies and all. So they are very more of a human touch and all. Yeah.
So tell me, what is the one underrated movie that you watched and deserves more appreciation?
There are many.
In the recent times.
In the recent times, like there are many movies. What is that underrated movie? No, I would say like in particular, like due to work and all, in a year or so, like I didn't got to explore more movies. But there was this Telugu movie that is in 80 called Peka Medalu. So that movie was very good actually, but people didn't knew much about it. And even the Hindi, when you look at the Hindi movies, so like Manoj Bajpayee's Bande, which was on Z5, that was a very good movie, and people need to.
A lot of people don't know about it.
A lot of people don't know about it, and even web series. Like there was a web series called Killer Suit. Like it was a very well made series.
I watched it,
Yeah. People don't know about it. Like
I also watched Curry and Cyanide, which was
that is a documentary. I didn't get to watch it. I need to check it out.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I mean, I really enjoyed watching. Why? Because of course it keeps you hanging as to whatever was shown was it true or was it just an illusion that people were thinking? So it gives you. So I think 2024 has been a year for the Malayalam industry.
Yeah, Malayalam industry. And you said underrated, right? There was a Tamil movie called Melagan. In Telugu it is Satyam Sundaram. It stars Karthik, Surya's brother.
Okay.
So that's a very like well-made movie, because that movie makes you realize like what we are missing out in life. We are so into like fast-paced lifestyle and all. I think somewhere we are missing that human connection because of the social media and everything. We are missing the true human connection. So that movie made me realize, it brought tears in my eyes after watching that movie, because everyone should check out Melagan. It's in Netflix. You can check it out. So
guys, you need to check it out.
Yeah, that's a very well-made, amazing movie. In Telugu, it's called Satyam Sundaram. So people should.
Where
check
is it available?
It's in Netflix. Yeah, that I would say people should check that movie out, because it will make you realize, it will change you, it will give you a new perspective, it will make you slow down in life. Like, yeah, there is,
We are so busy in always doing, hustling, that sometimes we forget to take a pause.
Yeah,
right?
and even when we like, even the friendships are not genuine, is what I think in
These
recent times,
days.
because there is consideration in everything, like give and take. That movie, like obviously, I have some very good friends. There is not that thing, but in Gen Z
In
kids,
general, I mean, people, I don't think it's of course there is give and take, but we don't have time to invest our time and energy in friendships in
Yeah.
general, right? I mean, if I call you and you are busy, I wouldn't call you the second. It's like that. It has
Yeah.
become like that. That we are so busy, we are running every Monday, people, I have heard people say, oh, Monday blues, I don't want to get to work.
yeah.
It has become a thing these
It has
days,
become a
right?
thing, and even like I prefer like working in an environment that doesn't pay me so well, but I have a friendly people around who are not like.
That you have the opportunity to explicitly explore your creativity.
Yeah, that's true. Because even in creative industry, like I've been in media industry for like around 2 years. So like I worked in both toxic environment and like people who are very friendly, who are very supportive, who gave me that creative liberty. So if there is that creative liberty, I don't complain. I don't mind working on Saturday or Sunday because they are very respectful.
Yeah, you don't feel like work, right?
Yeah.
Work which doesn't feel like work.
Work which doesn't feel like work. Yeah, that's the way we.
Yeah, I
articulate it.
understand.
Yeah.
I think if you're interested in doing something, work will not feel like
Yeah,
work.
work will not feel like work. And there's this another case. I worked in. I don't want to name the company, but people are like very rude and they expect us to work on Saturdays and Sundays, and there is no that creativity involved in it. It's just a mechanical thing. So
The attitude where the know-it-all attitude.
yeah, know it all attitude. And one thing that I actually don't like about the Mumbai thing is that obviously it's a very good city. People are very professional. They are on point and all. One thing that I don't like is that these people being in film industry are missing that human connection. Is what I see.
Why do you say so? As in, have you had experiences?
Yeah, I did. Like I don't want to name, but they were good people. I learned a lot from them. I'm always grateful. But just that there is no human connection. It was like when I started out as an intern, it's not like they treated me badly, but it was just I was missing. Like,
You didn't feel included. Right?
Yeah, I didn't feel somewhat I was included, but there is no life in that work actually. It was very mechanical because for creative people, in order to work, they should feel being alive, right?
This should be some sort of liberty.
Yeah. Liberty partly I was missing that thing, and because of which it has impacted my creative thought process.
Do you think this is also because, of course, as you said, you've always watched cinema as in, you belong to a place which is not as busy as Mumbai. So do you think that was a very shift in
I will agree with that
Yeah.
because it was like, man, there's no time to breathe. Like, why have people become so mechanical and all?
So were you nervous and that resulted in your creativity block?
Yeah, I was very nervous, and even every day before going to office, I was like, okay, on what point they are going to yell at me today. So, and that thing is very different in Karnataka or in Andhra for that matter. In Bangalore, I was interviewed by a production house. So they were very kind people. Work is there. But what I loved about them is that there is lunch for people who work in that production house. You don't have to go out for having lunch and all. So they give food. And
so everybody, you felt a little more inclusive.
Inclusive, and there's no ye chota, he's not
No hierarchy.
No hierarchy as such. Yeah, that thing I liked about in Bangalore industry. Of course, there's not much money in Kannada film industry, but people are very welcoming, and they give a safe space for every creative individual. There is a freedom for everyone to dream big, and partly that is there in Telugu or even in South Indian film industry in general.
Right.
So that is what I feel like is missing in Mumbai, because again I worked in one part of Mumbai.
You don't know what the other production
houses are
You can't judge that.
Can't judge them, and I'm not saying like they were bad.
I think the city demands you to be
the
fast.
city
Because I have
demands.
also interned there, so I do understand. The city demands you to be fast. The
Yeah.
city demands you to just be at your toes always, right?
Yeah. But the good thing about is that I got to meet a very
I think
lot
there
of
are more
stars.
number of opportunities.
There are more number of opportunities. There is money, like because if you struggle for 2 or 3 years, you'll make it big, or you'll be in some good position in Mumbai.
That's what they say, no? If you struggle for certain years, you will make it big.
Yeah, you will make it big, and I'm thankful for Mumbai because it has given me the actual reality. Like the reality had hit me, and it had turned me into a different person. So it gave me the real experience, and even my personality has changed. So I'm always grateful for that amazing experience that Mumbai and people over there had given me, and I got to meet.
You actually understood what you strongly feel about,
Yeah.
what are your likes and dislikes, and then you decided, okay, this is what I want to settle in.
Yeah, and people, it's not like fast pace and people shouldn't go there. There are people who like Bollywood, who love Bollywood. They don't mind. They enjoy that. For me, like I'm more into like South Indianish kind of.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, people have their own preferences.
Own
so that's
preferences,
absolutely
yeah.
fine.
Everyone can go to the industry of their choice. I know like 3 to 4 languages because I can work in Kannada, Telugu, or Hindi.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of choices for me. That way, yeah, that's the thing.
You've been lucky.
Yeah.
So now that we've spoken about the most underrated movie, what is that one overrated movie that you think should have, I mean, did well at the box office, but wasn't that well in terms of content or say?
In terms of content, like I think maybe Pathan or Jawan.
You didn't like the story?
Story was very general. Pathan's story was fine, like it was good story on paper, but the dialogues were very kind of amateurish is what I believe, because the dialogue rating would have been more mature. For example, Kho Gaye Hum Kahan. So the dialogue rating was very
That hits you.
That hits you. It was very nuanced. In Pathan, like the dialogue was more of a cringe. Even I'll say Pushpa too, because again people will think that this guy is from Telugu industry.
No. There are, as I said, people have their preferences, and I may not. I am a very Bollywood kind of a girl who has always watched Bollywood films.
Yeah.
Recently, I've been venturing into regional movies, but there are certain movies that I also didn't like. I mean, there is a very big misconception that people have. Big masala movies will do good.
Yeah.
So people need to watch slow movies also.
Slow movies also, and they need to reflect. As I say, if they slow down in life, they'll definitely like give some space for that. If not in theaters, at least they should watch in OTT. And it's great that, as I mentioned, Melagan, it was celebrated in OTT and all. So that's the thing. And even Bollywood in general, the Bollywood I grew up watching like in 2000s and all, the songs were like amazing.
I still remember them.
Yeah, they were cult classics. Even in before 2015, I loved a lot of movies like. Even action movies, they were doing well. They made some sense actually. So I loved them because, for example, Salman Khan, Ekta Tiger was a well-made movie, but again the sequel and all the drama, I didn't like it. I couldn't connect with it. Like, and even that sequel thing, just for stretching it, they are spoiling the originality of cinema. Is what I think. Yeah. That's there. And also like there were a lot of movies by Imran Hashmi back in time.
People were like, Imran Hashmi is only made for doing sensual scenes and
but there was the sensual was this much and people were sensationalizing this much. So that's the thing. But the content and story was something different. It was a true dramatic films that Imran Hashmi made. And even like Hrithik Roshan's movie, there was this movie called Guzarish, I guess. Yeah, that was a
Gajni, Guzarish, all of them had a, they were very heavy on content.
Yeah, heavy on content. Even Tare Zameen Par, it did well. And even
now people are very, fond of that movie. Classic hai.
Yeah, and I think like in order to for Bollywood to revive, like I think Bollywood is trying to mimic or imitate the South Indian cinema through action and masala and everything. They should come back to that originality which was there before 2015 in 2000s and all. So that industry will revive and people will remember the movies. And I think it is coming back slowly.
With movies like Control, Kho Gaye Hum Kahan, I think what else did I watch on OTT? Bollywood. Good movies, I mean good series. I don't remember exactly.
I like Jigra also. Like people often criticize that movie when it
didn't do well at the box office.
At the box office, but when I watched it like last week, I really liked the movie. But the director's previous movies were good, like Monica. Vasan Bala, Monica Om and Darling, So they were very good movies. Yeah.
Maybe of course they released it in the theaters and I think the public also does put a lot of pressure on the actors to
Actors.
always perform, always perform.
Yeah.
Human being cannot always
Yeah,
function like
always
that,
function,
right?
and even I think the big stars are under pressure to do only certain types of movies,
Right.
because Shah Rukh Khan
Hmm.
actually experimented with Zero
Hmm.
or even Fan for that matter. Like he experimented a lot, but people were not ready to watch him in that way. People wanted Shah Rukh Khan, the King Khan, the larger than life characterization. But still, I heard that he's doing a movie with Vishal Bharadwaj. Like he's coming back in that zone. I'm thankful. Like as Sandeep Manga said in an interview that I want to see Shah Rukh Khan back in time. He was doing Dar and all.
Bazigar and all
Bazigar,
that,
yeah. Even I wish that Shah Rukh Khan comes back.
Yeah.
That Salman Khan comes back. And like even today's audience will know like what
They will love it.
what made Khans Khans.
Yeah, right. So, do you, now that we've spoken about, I think, most of the male filmmakers
Yeah.
and directors, do you think women stand a chance in a male dominated industry? Do you think that Bollywood, or for that matter, the cinema industry is male dominated at all, and women have very less or say no chance? As in,
No, I don't agree to that point. Often people stereotype it in that way. But there are like very good female filmmakers. For example, Anjali Menon from Malayalam industry,
I know.
and even in Telugu film industry, there were few filmmakers who kind of delivered some very good content. In Sony Live, there is a web series called Bench Life. So it was directed by a female filmmaker called Mansa. So that movie, that series was very well made, like under a very minimum budget. It showed the reality of how software engineers are and all. So and also there is this in Malayalam industry like that she's directing a movie with Yash called Toxic. So even I don't remember her name. So sorry for that.
no, yeah.
Yeah. Even she.
Also, this
Zoya Akhtar.
All We Imagine is Light.
All We Imagine.
Payal Kapadia and all
Payal
that.
Kapadia. I didn't get to watch it, so I need to check it out.
Yeah, even I didn't, but I've heard good reviews.
Yeah.
For that matter, Kiran Rao, Lapata
Kiran Rao,
Ladies,
yeah.
right?
And people don't know Kiran Rao, Dobighat.
No, they don't know, yeah.
Dobighat was a very well-made cinema, you know.
They know Kiran Rao as Amir Khan's
Khan's
wife,
wife.
right? Yeah, like that. But yeah, she's ventured into
Yeah.
filmmaking, and I think she's directed Lapata Ladies.
Lapata Ladies.
Very nice. You remember that scene where that old auntie finally has the Kalakand because she got a moment to celebrate, right? That was the peak of cinema. I mean, very, very nice.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So now that we've almost reached to the end of the podcast, this is the manifestation couch. Yeah. So we ask our guests that what do you manifest today for 2025 or for your life? What do you manifest today?
So for 2025, I don't know, like for life,
Yeah.
I definitely want to be a filmmaker, as I said.
Yeah.
But I don't want to rush out, you know, like there is a lot of things that I need to learn actually. Watching movies and exploring cinema doesn't make you a filmmaker, is what I agree. You need to like step in and showcase your thing, you know. So yeah, like there is still a lot to do, and maybe 10 years down. Now I'm 20. I turn 26 in 3 months.
Achha.
So it's fine that if I make my debut at 36, but it should be something worthwhile, and people should remember me for that. So I don't want to rush. I don't want to like rush with things and all. So that's the thing. And in 2025, now as we know, like the media industry has become very fragile, and I just want to survive for another 3 years, so that I can, as I said, learn more and like save some enough amount of money for my family and for my parents. Yeah. That's the thing. And even in media industry, like as I see, in my personal experience, most of the people don't get married and they are single. Even
So you want to settle down?
I don't know. Like I just want to go with the flow. I'm not against the thing. Like I don't want to get married or something like that. It's just that we don't know what destiny has in store for us.
Yeah. Right.
Because often people, even stereotype, like people from the media or film background, they see a lot of people getting separated in marriage and being unmarried, and there's no successful one. And also, I don't say in the film industry, in recent times, people have modernized this term called DINK, like dual income, no kids.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, these terms are coming out.
Very new Gen Z
Very new
terms.
Gen Z, yeah.
Breadcrumbing, then situationship and all of that. Because I do believe in the concept of marriage,
Yeah.
the institution of marriage, and I think if something is meant for you, is
It
definitely it will happen, right?
Yeah, and also like we just need to go with the flow and like I prefer staying old school no matter what.
Yeah.
Times are changing, but I just want to be connected to my roots.
Yeah.
And of course, like my friends and people whom I knew personally,
Mm.
they like me for me
For the person you
for
are.
the person I am, for the old school way I am.
Mm.
So I just want to keep my originality alive, even no matter how big I make as a filmmaker, like as I exist in the industry. I just want to stay original. I just don't want to be a wannabe for the sake of getting some opportunities. Yeah.
So now we play a rapid fire
Yeah.
where I ask you certain questions and you have to choose among the
Yeah.
3 or 2 options that I give you.
Yeah.
And if you manage to, choose and be the pickiest, choose 3 at least, you will have one.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
not a typical very coffee with current, but
Yeah.
utna budget nahi hai hamare
Yeah.
paas, but anyway,
We'll
yeah.
make it work, yeah.
So your first question is, would you rather choose to be in the Hollywood industry, Bollywood industry, or Tollywood industry?
Anything that comes my way, like it's
You
not.
have to make a choice.
I have to make a choice. Of course, Tollywood. Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather prefer chicken biryani from Andhra Gunpowder or Hyderabad Mandi House?
Tough, but yeah, Andhra Gunpowder.
So, what is special in that?
Special in that, like because it gives that authentic Hyderabadi or Andhra touch. People often in Bangalore, people overhype Meghnas or Nagarjuna for that.
You don't
matter.
like them?
I think it's overrated. I guess people should check out Andhra Gunpowder, Hyderabad chefs for that matter, in order to get that proper Hyderabadi touch in the
Very
biryani.
authentic.
Very
Hyderabad.
authentic, because I have been in Hyderabad. In Hyderabad, like there are a lot of places,
Mm.
and biryani is a like
Very common,
Very common.
yet very celebrated flavor.
a very celebrated flavor. Even if you go at midnight, you get a good biryani place. In Bangalore, there is this Karnataka style called Donne biryani,
Donne biryani.
and even like Shivaji Military Hotel, the proper,
Mm.
that is good. But
Mani's dum biryani.
Mani's dum biryani. But Meghna's and Nagarjuna is good, but Meghna is very overrated. People overhype it so much. I personally think it's not that great.
Okay.
So people need to check out some other things like Andhra
Right.
Gunpowder and yeah.
So now that you've lived in both Bangalore and Hyderabad,
And also Mumbai.
yeah. So which city would you prefer in the coming years?
So in the coming years, I prefer staying at my hometown. Like now I'm in Anandpur. I want to stay in my hometown because
No, you have to choose between Bangalore, Hyderabad.
Bangalore, Hyderabad.
In terms of work opportunities.
In terms of work opportunities, very tough because both cities are close to my heart. But it's tough. But Bangalore, Hyderabad. It's very tough. Sorry that yeah, both.
Okay.
I like to have a place for myself in both the cities.
Okay, cool. Okay, I mean, a lot of people do not have to choose. It's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
both if you both
Yeah.
the cities are close to your heart.
Yeah,
so
they
it's
made me feel like home. I grew up in the cities and all. Yeah.
So, who would you rather, whose work would you rather prefer to watch? Rajamouli's or Sandeep Reddy Vanga?
Sandeep Reddy Vanga.
I know.
Because Rajamouli, yeah, but Sandeep Vanga has kind of influenced me towards cinema. Like Arjun Reddy was more of a personal connection. The way screenplay was, every scene, as I said, like every scene is very important. I'm not saying like Rajamouli don't make good movies. Of course, his movies are larger than life, but I'm not that kind of. I do enjoy his movies for a single watch. But when we look at repeat value, I feel Sandeep Reddy Vanga.
Which is your favorite movie, Rockstar or Varanam?
Varna Mairam, yeah. So tough, but Varna Mairam, because people should check out that movie, Varna Mairam.
Where is it available?
It's in YouTube, and it stars Surya and Samira Reddy and Ramya.
Check that out.
Yeah. In Telugu, it's called Surya Son of Krishna. So
Okay.
that movie released in 2008, but I watched it in 2017, and it made me like it has inspired me to pursue cinema in general. So that's that one click. It's a calling for being a filmmaker. And in that movie, the father and son relationship was beautifully portrayed, and I have that relationship with my dad.
Oh,
thankfully.
so that's close to your heart.
Yeah.
So, would you rather make a Bollywood directorial debut in terms of the theatre or a OTT directorial debut?
I love experimenting, so I don't have a thing right. I want my movie to play in theaters. there's no hard and fast rule. So I prefer OTT because I have that space to experiment and play more.
Right. Would you rather choose ghee podi idli or rasam rice?
Rasam rice, yeah.
Why?
Rasam rice because like my mom, I grew up having pappu rasam rice.
Rasam, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've answered 5 of them right,
Yeah.
and you get the hamper.
Oh.
But I'm glad that Sai Charan has given us some bunch of movies where you can enjoy for the new year
Sure.
and after that as well.
Yeah.
And it is easily available on Netflix, as you
Yeah.
said, and YouTube. And I think YouTube also has a lot of content
Yeah,
and
also,
movies
and
to watch.
even there is a platform called Movie. As I said,
Movie.
like I was mentioning international filmmakers, and you can check out Movie. Like there are a lot of movies that you can explore. And specifically for people who want to enter filmmaking, I would suggest is that you can be a filmmaker. It's just that follow your heart. There'll be a lot of people who would suggest do this, do that, and all. It's not necessarily there's no hard and fast rule. Just do your own thing and have a plan B always. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, having a plan B is important, but follow your heart.
Yeah, follow your heart.
That what makes you,
You
right?
authentic.
Yeah. So yes, we have finally come to the end of the podcast, and I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation because Sai Charan has so much to share, and I think our audience has also got to know that you have in-depth research not only for Telugu movies. You've gone out, ventured into Iranian movies and European movies. So I think this episode has also will let the audience know that filmmaking is not at a very surface level. It requires a lot of in-depth research, and you also got to you also need to watch a lot of movies to become a good filmmaker, because I think stories are important and filmmakers make the best of the storytellers. I know, right?
Yeah.
So yes, it was great having you, and I really loved the conversation.
Yeah, same here.
It just went on, and I wanted to hear more. Right?
Yeah, but we don't have much time, I guess. But again, we can definitely catch
Yeah,
up.
we can catch up. So please, somebody who's new to my channel, subscribe to the channel, and this podcast will take time to upload, because there's a lot of content. I don't want you guys to miss anything. So please keep supporting, and I'll see you in the next episode. Till then, bye.